Have you ever woken up one day and you look into the mirror and you're like, you know what, I really want to play Gunslinger Girl today? No? Well, that was me a couple days ago. Growing up, I was a really big fan of the anime series. I read a couple volumes of the manga, but primarily I was a huge fan of the anime. I own most of the DVDs for it, and I just think it's a really good time. I don't know how well it holds up. It has been years since I watched it, but overall, I remember enjoying it. So you can imagine my excitement and my surprise when I found out that a PS2 game, not one, not two, but three existed. And you could also imagine my surprise when I found out that they are on-rail shooters, which I think is a really perfect choice of game style for this series. So without further ado, let's talk about Gunslinger Girl Volume 1 on the PS2. To give a little insight on the series before I get into the games, Gunslinger Girl revolves around an agency of people that quote-unquote give second chance of life to patients that have terminal diseases, but in turn these girls have to do dirty work for the agency. That's just the basis of it. You can go read it or watch it for yourself. I do recommend it, but the game does not seem to follow the anime or the manga as far as I can tell. It seems to be its own contained story that is cut up into 3 parts, but sadly, since I don't read or speak Japanese, I have no way of knowing what the story is about really, past what I see in the game, which I'll get into for this video, and as I'll try to explain as best as I can for volumes 2 and 3. Right off the bat, my god, there is nothing on this game online. I tried my hardest to find anything, and I could find nothing past the fact that Dimps developed this game and that it was under Marvelous. Even on the Dimps Wikipedia page for this game, you cannot even click on Gunslinger Girl. Like, there is no Wikipedia page for this game, and it is honestly insane. So keep that in mind. I really don't have any knowledge on the development part of this game, so we're just gonna skip that. The story follows Henrietta, who is the MC of the anime series and who I assume will be the MC for most of the games. I know there are characters that will return in these games like Angelica, since I saw her on the cover art for one of the 3 titles. I don't remember which one, but we are talking about Volume 1 today, so for now, Henrietta is the main character of the game. Henrietta's mission this time around is to chase after this guy and to chase after this girl named Pia. Each mission of the game will have her chasing after them while fighting off their minions. Now, I'm going to admit, you caught me red-handed. I'm probably going to be a bit biased because I'm a fan of the anime, but I really enjoyed my time with the game. It isn't anything amazing, but I think what it sets out to do, it does very well. It is a cover-based on-rail shooters that has a mechanic very similar to something like Time Crisis, where you're in cover and you come out of cover to shoot, go back into cover to reload, come back out and shoot, rinse and repeat, and you do this for 4 levels, which does sound short, and that's because yes, this game is pretty damn short. You can beat it within a couple hours, and personally I didn't really mind it that it was short because this game does have replayability. You do have to replay the story again to unlock more weapons for Henrietta. The issue is I obviously can't read Japanese, so I don't know what the requirements are. But the matter of the fact is, this game does have replayability to it. You also do unlock score attack mode once you finish the game if you're into that. But hold on. Let's backtrack a little because I'm getting ahead of myself. I know you guys are looking at the game and you're wondering to yourself, oh, this is an on-rail shooter, does this support GunCon? And to answer that lovely question, I don't believe this game actually has any GunCon support. This game looks like it was specifically made to be played on controllers, and you can really tell by the systems they have implemented in the game to help you aim. Primarily, as you see through my gameplay, you'll notice how my crosshair snaps onto enemies. That is a button press, so every time you press triangle, the game will automatically snap your crosshair onto an enemy, and that's all it really takes. Like, you might have to wait a couple seconds for the crosshair to fully be aiming onto them, but past that, it feels oddly satisfying when you snap onto an enemy, shoot them, then quickly snap onto the next enemy. You could actually snap on multiple enemies, and if you wait a few seconds, you will automatically shoot at both of them. It is really cool in my opinion. With that being said, there actually are negativities with this mechanic if you try to use it with other weapons. So primarily for the pistol, this mechanic works best for. If you try to use this mechanic for like a shotgun, you actually just cannot even do the snap-on mechanic. And if you try to use it for like an assault rifle, it is very slow to the point where you almost don't even want to do it. So the game does make sure that you cannot abuse this system, because it is obviously very good. It just makes you aim very quickly at everybody, and there is a little stamina bar that you see on the top left. It is the blue bar. That is the stamina meter that you do use whenever you press triangle. However, though, I've never really ran into a situation where I ran out of that meter, so you just spam the fuck out of it when you use the pistol. But overall, the gameplay loop is satisfying enough for me as a fan of the genre. I really enjoyed it. It doesn't do anything innovative, it doesn't do anything too crazy, but if you're a fan of on-rail shooters, this one will fit right at home with you, and if you're a fan of the anime series, you will enjoy this even more. And I mean, come on now, when you unlock that P90, that is an emotional moment. The P90 is Henrietta's main weapon from the anime, and it is a very iconic weapon for that anime. It is the weapon you saw in the beginning of the video during the anime clip. And luckily the P90 is very good in this game. I was shredding enemies, I was shredding bosses, unless you're this annoying fuck. Which is a good segment into my complaints with the game, which luckily is only a couple things. The first thing being the bosses, primarily this annoying piece of shit. This boss fight was just really stupid in my opinion, but the boss fights overall very basic, which I don't really know if I want to complain too much about. Boss fights in on-rail shooters are never too crazy, but they are pretty bare bones in this game. There's also like no enemy variety in the game. Like, I'm not lying when I say there's about 5 types of enemies and they all have the same look. Like, they never change. Like, there's a cutscene in this game where you see 3 enemies talking against 3 enemies, and 3 of them are the same and the other 3 are the same of that type, and it just honestly looks pretty hilarious. Oh, you know what? And you know what? I just thought of something else, the cover mechanic. So as I mentioned earlier, this game runs on a cover mechanic. You hide behind a wall, pop out, shoot enemies. This actually can become very annoying during certain segments of the game. So how the game works is there will be a marker on top of the enemy, which you've seen a lot throughout the clips, and it will say like danger or warning. And when you see this marker on top of an enemy, that's when you're supposed to hide behind cover so you don't take damage. That is where the damage comes from, very similar to like the red enemies in Time Crisis. And this is where the issue kind of comes in. As you also saw through my gameplay, you'll notice how every time I wipe out enemies on the screen, you'll see like little arrows on the map. You press the D-pad to move Henrietta, so you'll press up, you'll press left, and there are points in the game where you're stuck on a wall and there's enemies on 2 sides of the wall, so you'll have to go left and you'll have to go right to fight off the enemies on both sides of the wall. And there were many moments throughout the game where you'd be on the right side of the wall and the enemy on the left side has that marker on top of their head, you know, that warning marker, but you can't see it because you're on the right side of the wall. But sometimes you would still take that damage even if you do not see it. It does make for some very annoying moments. That was just the last minute thought I've had about another negative with this game. So yeah, I had a good time overall with Gunslinger Girl Volume 1. I'm curious to see if they try anything different with Volumes 2 or 3, and I will let you know in my later videos. But before I do end the video, I do want to bring up something because this is my first video in this format, and I kind of want to explain a bit more how these videos are going to play out. These are really never going to be review videos. I just kind of want to hop on the mic and yap about weird and obscure and niche games that not many people may know about and kind of bring them into a somewhat of a limelight. So I never really plan to get super analytic, super descriptive, super in-depth with these games. I'm just going to kind of like just talk about my time with them pretty much and leave it at that, not really give them a score. If you really want to know what I give games on the rating scale, follow my backlog, which I'll put in the description below. I always update my backlog whenever I finish a game, review it, and score it on there. And I primarily want to bring this up for you guys. You know, please feel free to let me know if there's anything you guys recommend or anything you think I should be doing differently with these videos going forward. Please let me know, give me all the criticism in the world. I will take that and apply it to my next video. So yeah, with that being said, give this game a shot, it's fun.